Welcome back to Story Mode. It's the end of 1997 and I'm in a very dark place. I couldn't care about video games, let alone collecting them. The question is, how do I get out? We take a trip back to 1997, an amazing year for video games. However, it's the year I least played them. One of my fond memories was Blast Corps on the N64, and the next, Mortal Kombat 4.
Finish her!
Well, you'll know Grand Theft Auto, and this is how it started. Grand Theft Auto Part 1 on the PlayStation. Yes, 1997 gave an awesome amount of games. Dead or Alive, there were two Die Hards, Die Hard Trilogy and Die Hard Arcade. Elevator Action Returns, Thunder Force 5, Turok the Dinosaur Hunter, Diddy Kong Racing and Star Fox 64.
So this is Star Fox. I'm going to crush you!
I've had the painstaking task of picking 4 games, my top 4 games for 1997, and it was hard. The first one, Shinrei Jusutsushi Terumaru. It is a mouthful, but believe me, it's an incredible platformer. Being heavily into cars at the time, no other game was going to get my attention more than Gran Turismo. Well, here it is, number 2 on the Nintendo 64, GoldenEye. This would clearly be the most time I spent on a game in the 90s. Well, it's not hard to work out number 1, and that is my number 1 game of all time, Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the PlayStation 1. It's 1997 and it's the most alone I've ever been in my life. My mother was busy doing voluntary work and my good friend Simon moved to Hong Kong. And I literally had no one to talk to. A lot of friends of mine from the past either had their own lives or they were just hanging around to use me. This was something I learned when I had my shop. The one thing I had to do was start selling off stock and also my own private collection of video games. I started boxing it up. The Mega Drive games, the Sega Saturn games, the PlayStation 1 games, Nintendo 64 games, it was all going to be put on the market. To this point, this would be the biggest shift I had in my life. I knew I had to start fresh. And the video games really just reminded me of Kylie. I called around a few different places, but no one wanted to buy the bulk amount. It was just too much money. So I hung on to them for now. At this stage, I would have had between 3,000 and 4,000 games. So I called up a friend of mine. His name is Hass and he knew everything about computers and video games. He would have to be one of the only ones I knew at the time who knew as much as me, if not more sometimes, about video games. He would know so much, especially computer video games like Atari, Commodore Amiga, Commodore 64. He just seemed to know everything. And he was an expert in PC. The ironic thing was he had a video game shop in the mid-90s just like mine. In fact, it was its opposition, High Tech Game Center. My computer was running really slow and I had Windows 95 on there at the time and everything was just clogged up and I had no idea how to fix it. Remember, I have no idea about DOS. He would come over, format my drive and do a fresh install with Windows 95. My computer was flying again. So after talking about old times and the current games on Sega Saturn, Hass asked me if I'd like to get a program off him called Freetel. It's a program you could download off the internet, but he had it with him and he installed it on my computer and basically it allows you to talk to anyone who's got the same program over the internet for free via text or typing and via voice, and that was pretty cool back then. You could go into chat rooms or you could just talk to random people. It was itemized either by country or by subject, like video gaming. There wasn't much video gaming at the time. It was like about gardening and all sorts of things. The The next day I started checking out this program in depth, and I had a microphone and I wanted to kind of talk to someone, but there were a lot of people without mics at the time. I'd mainly connect with mainly Americans, some English, and a few from Australia. I found a video games group, but they were mostly talking about PC games, and at the time I wasn't really into PC. So I got out of the group and started looking at individual people, and I thought I'd go to Americans because there seemed to be more Americans on at the time. And I clicked from newest to oldest, so the newest person to log into Freetel will be displayed at the top, and there it was, Jen from New Jersey. I clicked on the name and typed hello. Within a blink of an eye I got, "Hi, I'm Jen from New Jersey, and I just got the internet." It was easy and surreal. I couldn't believe I was talking to someone else on the other side of the planet. We chatted for around 20 minutes, just about random things, the world, presidents, whatever. And then she asked me if I had a mic. I connected the mic straight away and typed yes, and then all of a sudden I heard,
"Hi, it's Jen from New Jersey."
Once I heard that voice, this was my first glimmer of hope, mainly because she's a woman and she's on the other side of the planet. She knows nothing about me, and here's someone I could confide in. We would chat every single day and for hours over Freetel via the mic, and she would learn everything about me within 2 weeks, right up to the point of hitting rock bottom where I still was. Over a month we would become best friends. We were only 2 years difference in age. She was single, but that's the last thing on my mind, especially to start a long distance relationship. Then one day we started talking about meeting. You know it's inevitable and it's going to happen, but we started talking about the possibility of meeting. She said I could actually come over to her house and her parents would let me stay at their house for as long as I wanted. She would show me around New Jersey and things like that, and I just kind of wanted to do it, but something was telling me not yet. The other thing is I am petrified of flying. After talking to her for a couple of months, I noticed something. I was drinking a little bit less. In fact, some days I wouldn't drink at all, and I was slightly happier. It's no coincidence. This was all Jen. And it could take years for me to get over this relationship. And sitting at home drinking myself to death is not going to help me. Jen wanted me to venture out of the house. I just didn't know where to go. But Jen had all the answers, and I had to trust what she was telling me. Go into the city and see the lights of Melbourne. Learn to be alone and understand you're good enough all by yourself. Become an observer and look at the things around you. Go to the beach, look at the sky, feel the sun, walk on the sand. Doing all these things, I knew I was starting to find myself. I wasn't 100%, but I was definitely getting there. Thanks, Jen.
1, 2, 3, and...